In today's class, we will talk about some basic element of modeling. And this is not something which is very new. You might have learned some of these concepts in your basic course on networks and circuits, something coming from mechanics, or even as early as your high school physics. And we will see how all these basic elements which we will define can be used to model physical system. And we also find out there is an analogy between different kind of subsystem. So we start by classifying things into several types. It could be either electrical system, mechanical system, electronics, hydraulic, thermal, and several other systems. And each of these models, as we see, or each of these systems can be modeled in terms of very certain basic elements. And then we will see if there is any analogy between cross domain between electrical and mechanical systems. And through this lecture, we will concentrate mainly on electrical and mechanical system. So, in electrical system, based on the type of source, we could classify a system either as current source, or we could classify as either as being voltage source. Okay. So, if I talk of voltage source control system or a circuit, my basic system variables are voltage and charge. Okay, basic elements are voltage and charge. We will see why this is true, why it is voltage and charge, why not voltage and directly the current, or why not something else. Okay, and of course the three basic elements which we will know from circuit are resistance, inductor, and capacitor. And throughout this class we will restrict ourselves to linear element. Okay, similarly for current source circuit or a system, my basic building block or basic system variables are system current or the system current and the corresponding flux. And I will also show you why this is true. Of course the basic element then remain the same: resistance, inductor, and capacitor. Okay, so how are these things defined? Well, we all know that what is resistor. Okay, it is an element which resists the flow of current in a system, and we all know this Ohm's law, V equals to IR. Okay, model simple linear resistance. If I go to inductor, I know that the voltage across an inductor is given by d phi by dt or L di by dt. So in case when flux is linear related to current, we will have L di by dt. Say if I just write down some basic law which we learn in electromagnet. So phi is proportional to amount of current, or in linear case phi is equals to L I, where L is inductor, and then you have this linear relationship or this relationship L V is equals to L di by dt. Okay, describing a linear inductor. Similarly for capacitor, we know that the charge is proportional to amount of voltage, and in case of linear element Q is equals to CV, and I have a relationship that the current, which is nothing but the rate of change of charge, is simply C dV by dt. So current dQ by dt can written as C dV by dt. Okay, through this relationship. So what we will concentrate now is on these two things highlighted in blue. So how do we apply relevant physical laws and get some form of mathematical model? Okay. circuit, we all know what are the nodal and the loop analysis, and these are essentially coming from part 6, right? So part 6 contain a structured way of applying physical law and getting model equation. Okay, so whenever we do nodal or loop analysis, we apply in context of either Kirchhoff's voltage law or current law and so on. Okay, so once we identify basic elements, we interconnect them in a certain way which define a circuit, and then we write down a relevant equations. So after identifying the basic elements of the system and variable of interest, we interconnect them in a certain way which define a circuit, and then we write down relevant equation for that circuit. Okay, so nodal analysis, as we know, is based on current law or mesh law, current law, and loop or mesh analysis we write down the voltage law, and this is again not very alien to us. And the Kirchhoff's current law says that any node, the direct sum of current flowing out of the node is equals to 0. Similarly, sum of voltage across closed loop is always 0. That is what Kirchhoff's voltage law tells us, right? So if I simply look at the circuit kind of things here, I would know that at node 1, I1 plus I2 plus I3 is equals to 0, because all three currents are going in outward direction. You will see all the currents are in outward direction. So at node 1, sum of all currents coming out, all the outgoing current is, sum of all the outgoing current is 0. Okay, and if I just look at this loop 1, I can say V1 plus V2 is equals to 0. If you will see the sign also, if I am traveling in this way, this is positive, this is negative. Again, if I am traveling this way, this is positive, negative. So this is voltage drop, then again voltage drop, which is equals to 0. Okay, so around the loop, sum of voltages is 0. Okay, now next is, let us start with the simple example. We can start with very basic example which we have already known, and then try to build up those things. Okay, so I have a current source, I have a resistor, I have an inductor, I have a capacitor, which are all linear element. So over here we work with linear element. Okay, and if I apply KVL at node 1, okay, when the circuit is single node, that is input current, which is I, is equals to IR plus IL plus IC. So incoming current at this node is only I, all three are outgoing current. So incoming current is equals to outgoing current. Okay, so what I through the resistance give, okay, what is I through the resistance give? V by R. So that is simply I can write as V by R. Across inductor, it will be 1 by L in integration of V dt. Okay, so just this, all these equations again come from basic law, okay, which we have written earlier. V is equals to L di by dt, and I can rewrite this as that current I is equals to 1 by L integration of dt V. Okay, So we had earlier seen this, or even I can write di by dt is equals to I by L, sorry, V by L. So I simply become 1 by L integration of V by dt. So just rewriting things which we already know, and finally the current across or current through the capacitor is C dV by dt. What else do I know? I already know that V is simply d phi by dt, which means the current now can be written as C d square phi by dt square, double differentiation of phi, okay, this term, and across R, I is equals to V by R. What is V? V is d phi by dt, so it will be 1 by R d phi by dt, and across inductor that will be simply phi by L. As in earlier slide when I said that basic system elements are current and flux, basic elements for my circuit was current and flux. So this is what I mean. So I have a current here and I have a flux here, and of course these are basic elements which build my circuit: capacitor, inductor and resistor here, right? So these are my basic elements and these are my basic system elements. Okay, now if I do loop or mesh analysis, you also call something like series RLC circuit, which is voltage source. Again, all elements are linear. I have voltage source, then if I just apply my voltage law, that with total voltage V would be across the resistance plus the voltage across inductor plus the voltage across capacitor, where current is flowing in this direction. Okay, again I know these things. Again, then V, the voltage across resistor, is given simply by IR. V across inductor, I already know from previous slide that V is equals to L di by dt, and voltage across capacitor can be written in terms of this 1 by C integration of current. In a similar way, we have written the current expression for an inductor. Okay, so where does this current come from? Well, current is simply rate of change of charge, or I is equal to dq by dt, which means that V can be written as L d square q by dt square, double differentiation of charge multiply with L, then R into dq by dt plus q by C. Just put this guy I is equal to dq by dt over here. Okay, so we will have L double differentiation of charge. So again, if I put I is equals to dq by dt here, it is R dq by dt, and if I put dq by dt, dt will cancel, differentiation and integration, then it will be simple q by C. Again, here the basic things are voltage and the charge. We will quickly we have seen that basic element for my circuit was voltage and charge. Okay, and if this is true or not, so when I said that voltage source system or a circuit, the basic system variable that define my dynamics of equations are voltage, okay, and charge, right? And we were somewhere in these steps. We applied relevant physics law and got some final model. Mechanical system. This is something which we learned much earlier than we do electrical circuit, right? We have done these in high school physics. So I classify motions either translational motion or we can say linear motion. And we have another type of motion called rotational system, having angular motion about a fixed axis. Okay, so what are the basic things here? If I talk of translational motion, my basic system variable would be force, which cause a certain displacement. And in rotational motion or angular motion, I have a torque that produce some kind of angular displacement. And what are the building element? I will have a mass, which is essentially like a kinetic energy element. I will have a spring, which is essentially like potential energy element, and damper, which represent the loss or friction in the system. Or we can also have an external damper to the system. So rotational motion, I could have a motion of inertia. I will have torsional spring, and again the corresponding damping or the resistance element in rotational motion. Mass is property of an element which store kinetic energy. And what does this mass do? So when a force is acting on a body of mass m, on this body of mass m, it causes certain displacement x. And what is Newton's second law tell me? That the force is just the rate of change of momentum, right? So this is the statement of second law. F is equals to dp by dt, differentiation of momentum. Okay, so if I use the relationship between momentum and velocity, so momentum is related to velocity as p equals to mv. Okay, where velocity, if I could write in terms of displacement, I will write m dx by dt, and then I will have the final relationship as m d square x by dt square, double differentiation of x. Okay, or usually called as, or also referred as, force is equals to m into a, or mass times the acceleration. Similarly, in case of rotational motion, I have moment of inertia, the property of an element that store kinetic energy in rotational motion, and in such a way that the torque is acting on a body of inertia j, causing a displacement theta, then the torque is j theta double differentiation, with same analogy over here. So this is directly one-to-one relationship between force and torque. Force is m into acceleration, torque is j into theta double differentiation. Okay, over here it's displacement double differentiation, over here also displacement double differentiation. Damper. So what is this guy? So damper is element that essentially generate a force acting opposite to the direction of motion, right? It is essentially block your motion or resist the motion. So what are the example? Natural friction which happens when we walk or when we drive a car, or dash spots. These are the example of damper. So there are two examples, and how are they modeled? So if I have a force, again a certain displacement x, the damper is modeled as F is b, which is a constant, which is like damping constant, dx by dt, a linear relationship between force and velocity. Similarly, rotational motion, I have a rotational damper or a friction as linear relationship between torque and angular velocity, which is theta, written as d single differentiation of theta. Okay, spring. And linear spring, as I said earlier, is an element that store potential energy, and in a way that when you have a force causing certain displacement, then spring, as we know, will have a restoring force. Okay, so if this is my force F, so this is nothing but a spring, and then force of spring would be somewhere I will call as Fs, right, in such a way that this is F. So if I write down the conservation of force here, that is sum of all forces is 0. I will write F plus Fs is equals to 0. And what we learn in school is we model this Fs as minus kx, and then I put this here as substitute in this equation, and then I will get this equation F equals to kx. Okay, a similar thing will happen in rotational domain also, right? That is, torsional spring is property of an element it show potential energy in rotational motion. In a similarly, when I have a torque that cause an angular displacement theta, then the torque and theta are related linearly as T equals to k theta. Okay. Now, how do we do equivalent nodal analysis for mechanical system? In electrical system, we had direct law, right? We have a circuit interconnected, then you write the relevant or identify the loops or identify the nodes and write down the voltage law, write down the current law, and you have a set of beautiful equations which describe for you the entire dynamics of system. Okay, so let's see the analogous of those kind of equation or those kind of conservation law in mechanical domain. So first, have our system structure that would suits nodal analysis. Okay, for that we will see an example. And so I have a system composed of spring. Okay, I have a mass element, I have a damper or dashboard, and this is my reference node with some external or some force over here. Okay, so step 1, this would be to identify the number of nodes, and these are identified usually by number of displacement. So I will have one corresponding to this guy here and another corresponding to this guy here. So these are two nodes, right? Node 1, node 2, which will give me two displacements. Okay, these two displacements are given by two springs. So spring will provide me displacement. Okay, so step 2, once I identify these two displacements or these two nodes, I just also fix and identify these two nodes x1 and x2, and I will mark them here, and then I will have a reference node. So displacement and reference nodes are identified in step 2. So step 3, we just go back to how these guys was connected between node 1 and node 2, and then with reference. So earlier we have seen that we were having spring, there was another spring, damper, there was reference node, and mass was connected. Okay, so this was my node 2, this was my node 1. Okay, so I had mechanical mass between node 2 and the reference. Okay, mass was connected like this, so this is also reference, this is also reference. So mechanical mass was connected between node 2 and the reference. Then K2 was between node 2 and reference. So here also, if this is my x2 node 2, Mass is connected between reference node and node 2. K2 is connected between node 2 and reference. Again, between 2 and reference I was having damper also. Okay, then between 1 and reference it was 1, then force was there on spring 1. Okay, so spring K and force was kind of acting on node 1. So we just draw some kind of circuit diagram kind of things over here. Okay, so I have a reference force x1, x2 are my two nodes, and all these are the same things. This is also x2, this is also x2. Okay, this is my reference. So I have a force, I have a spring K1, the mass element, the second spring, and the damping element. Okay, so I will just clear it once. Step 3 is connect mass between node x2 and reference node. Now step 4 was to connect K1 between node x1 and x2, connect spring K2 between x2 and reference node. Here we were connecting mass, here we are connecting our spring elements, and fifth step we were connecting our force. Okay, so once I do these connection as stated, as in previous picture, I have something like a circuit diagram, right? So step 6, then I will apply Newton's law at node 1. Okay, at node 1 I have a force, I have a spring, so force would be K times x, or displacement, since I am dealing with two displacement, I will simply have F equals to K1 x1 minus x2. Similarly at second node, I say the sum of all forces is 0. There is external force coming here, therefore I will have a force corresponding to this inertia element as x double differentiation of x2. The force corresponding to x2 is x2 with displacement k2 with displacement x2 is k2 x2. Okay, here would be this damper, the force will be b single differentiation of x2, and then force corresponding to k1, the force corresponding to spring k1 would be k1 x2 minus x1, and I have these two balance law for node 1 and node 2, which will give me the overall mathematical model of system. Okay, how do we identify the steps of nodal analysis, or how do we come about getting our model? So first is identify the number of node, which is equals to number of displacement. Select the reference node and then connect all the basic elements, which are mass element or inertia element, so according to their position. Similarly do for spring and damper, and if there is an external force that generate or which produce a force or a torque, also add to the system. And then finally apply Newton's law of motion to arrive at your desired equations. Okay, now if you go back and you see that there are these kind of equations look similar to what we had for electrical system, and we then see where is their analogy between both system are written as a set of conservation laws, right? So let us investigate that analogy between mechanical system and electrical system. So that would be typically arrive at two kinds of analogy. One would be where you can say that the force or input torque is equivalent to voltage. Okay, whereas we have, if we called as force voltage analogous or FV analogy. Okay, we could also have situation where force is analogous to current, or what we call as FI analogy. So how to establish this? Start with the circuit, right? So again, based on previous steps which we were listed, I can easily write down the force that the system which is exerted on this mass or spring damper is M double differentiation of displacement plus B single differentiation of displacement plus K into displacement, which has a mass, a spring, mass as a dissipative element, spring with constant K. Similarly, for rotational motion, I can write down the equivalent of it. Okay, so let us see. I have the equation of this guy, and see how do the equations on right hand side look like. So based on KVL, we drive earlier also that L double differentiation of charge plus R into single differentiation of charge plus Q by C is the voltage that is applied. So now this look very similar, right? So I have a force as an input, voltage as an input. The force produces a certain displacement. Here voltage results in some charge, and Q single differentiation was current, and so on. So therefore I could say that force here is equivalent to voltage. Mass would be in this case correspond to inductive element. Mass is equivalent to inductive element. B, the dashboard or damper, would be corresponding to resistor. K is the spring which corresponds to capacitor, and the basic system variable, the displacement, now corresponds to charge. Let us go for force current analogy. So instead of having voltage source circuit, now I have a current source circuit which have elements in parallel, which is called as parallel RLC circuit. So this thing will remain same. Okay, so force equation is same as last one, and if I write this equation of circuit on right hand side, the sum of all three currents through the resistance, inductor and capacitor based on KCL at node will be I is equals to C into flux double differentiation plus R into flux single differentiation plus phi by L. It would be L. Okay, so there is some analogy. Now force could be analogous to current, mass could be analogous to capacitor, B would be conductance or inverse of resistance, spring would corresponds to inductor, like the relationship K goes to 1 by L, and finally the basic system variable, the displacement here now corresponds to flux here, and that is the reason we call it like force to current analogy. So in previous slide the mass element corresponds to inductor, now it just corresponds to capacitor, and so on. Okay, so to summarize, that we have done so far is to find or to establish an analogous between mechanical system and electrical system. So the force to the voltage or force to the current analogy. Similarly, analogy would even for rotational domain, where I start from torque to voltage. Okay, to current, torque to voltage to current, and this table summarizes the analogous between various elements, between the mass, inductor, capacitor, okay, or the basic variables, system variables, which has displacement here, displacement theta here, angular displacement, to charge, to flux. Okay, so this is basically table which will give us analogous between elements of mechanical and electrical system. So Other kind of basic element which we learn are system which just transform energy from one system to another. In electrical domain, we know that transformer which transmit electrical energy from one circuit to another circuit through some electromagnetic induction property. Analogously, in mechanical domain, we have gear that are again if just transfer mechanical energy from one mechanical system to another by gear. Okay, so here I can say I can measure the transformer. So here I can say I can measure the transformer as either step up or step down, which would change the voltage level. Okay, here it would be change the speed and the direction of motion, and they just look like this, right? So if I have a transformer with a turn ratio N1 by N2, V1 by V2 is N1 by N2, and the current would be reverse of it, I2 by I1, right? So it will be step up or step down based on N1 and N2. If N1 is greater than N2, it is step down type. If N2 is greater than N1, it is step up. Okay, similarly in mechanical I have a torques on both the sides. Okay, related by relation torque T1 is equals to T2 by the radius R1 by R2, and inversely related to angular velocity. So these are again equivalent element in electrical domain to the transformer and to equivalent a gear in mechanical domain. So what have we learned so far? We have classified physical system, and as specifically concentrated on mechanical and electrical system and their basic element. We saw how by using basic conservation law where the nodal and loop analysis help us and get the dynamics of system. We also establish a beautiful analogy between electrical and mechanical system, and together the end also learned about energy transformation device like this transformer and gear. So thank you for today's lecture.